Hello everyone and a good Erev Yantiv. As we get closer to the holiday of Shavuot in the next few hours, we can't help but notice that this year, 2024, Tafshin Pei Dalet, it's been a week of colossal ups and downs. On the one hand, we can't help but notice that this past Shabbos, we were jubilant. Not only jubilant, but finally, after weeks and weeks, we finally had a speck of light when 4 hostages were freed, not through any deal, but through the armed forces of the Jewish people going in and freeing them. And yet, at the same time, the head of those forces was killed in action. We woke up this morning to find out that 4 soldiers were killed, and yet at the same time, we're getting ready for the holiday of Shavuot. If you think about it, this is exactly the story of almost every yontiv we have. Shavuot was a holiday in which we got the Torah, but it basically failed. After all, just a few weeks later, after the amazing Sinai experience with the thunder and the lightning and the shofar blowing, the Jewish people sinned in the sin of the golden calf. And then God had to try again. God had to give the second tablets, and this time it wasn't with the shofar blowing, and it wasn't with the thunder and the lightning. It was done totally quietly, and ultimately there wasn't even a holiday that we commemorate in order to go ahead and celebrate it. Yes, it was given on Yom Kippur and we mention it, but it's not exactly the main McCoy of Yom Kippur. I believe that God wanted to give us a message as we get to Shavuot. And that is, we have to celebrate when we celebrate, and we have to be sad when we're sad. Namely, we can't just wait for everything to be perfect. We have to be joyful for what we have, and we have to yearn for what we lack. Maybe this is the reason why there is an obligation on Yontif to say Hallel. Hallel has both in it, as we said many times. We have Hodula Hashem Ki Tov, praising God and thanking Him for what we have, and at the same time saying, Min ha-meitzar karati ya, anani b'merchavya. From the dire straits I call out to you, God, to please put me into the wide space again. We say, Zeh hayom asa Hashem nagila v'nismechavo. This is the day to be a day of rejoicing. And then, Ana Hashem Oshiana, God, please save me. I believe that especially on this Shavuot, we have a dire obligation to look at ourselves and say that in the last few months we have achieved, and yet we haven't achieved enough. We have what to be happy for, and yet we have what yet to strive for. Be'ezrat Hashem, I hope and pray that as we go into the next few months of the summer, God will bestow upon us many, many more such occasions for which we should be happy, for which we have an obligation to ultimately say a bracha of Atova HaMeitiv and a Shehechiyanu. And God willing, it will be so happy that we won't even have to sit here and say, well, maybe it's not perfect. God willing, until that time, let's be happy for what we have and pray for what we lack. Wishing everyone a Chag Sameach.